Hi again. So far we've learned that local government is the system of government that makes decisions for our local communities. It consists of councils with mayors and councillors being elected to represent our community. But how exactly does local government work and what do they do in order to get things done? Well, this is the Local Government Act of 1999. It sets out the rules every South Australian council has to follow to do their job correctly. As part of this, it lays out all the different processes council can follow to get things done. The principal process that council uses to bring forward and put into place ideas, initiatives and decisions is one of the most exciting processes ever. You will be blown away by how exciting it is. Wait for it. You ready? They use meetings. Whoa! Council meetings are usually held within the town hall, civic centre or other public building within the council area. If the council area is pretty big, councils generally meet in the largest town. For example, in the Mid-Murray Council in the Riverland, the council meets at Manham. The room that councils meet in is called the council chamber, like this one. Now, while each council may have its own look and feel in their council chambers, representing their respective areas, each chamber generally has the same basic setup. The mayor sits at the front of the room and chairs the meeting. Around the mayor in a big circle sits all of the councillors. During a council meeting, it's the mayor's job to run or chair the meeting. They tell everyone when they can and can't speak, and they have to make sure that everyone is following the rules. It's an extremely serious job that requires a lot of concentration, and of course, you need to make sure you're listening to the discussions and the debates that's going on around you. The councillors are here to represent the community. They do this by bringing items to the council on what they think will improve their community. They then discuss and debate their different points of view on why they believe it's great for the community. The councillors then make a decision on behalf of the community by voting on a resolution. Now, while the mayor and the councillors are the only ones actually participating in the meeting, there's lots of other people in the room who are actively involved in the council meeting while not directly participating. One of those people is the CEO. The CEO normally sits right next to the mayor. The CEO is there to represent the administration. They might be called upon for advice by the mayor, they might be asked a question by one of the councillors, or could be asked to provide an update on a project the administration are working on. Normally sitting alongside the main table is the executive staff of the administration. These guys generally run the major departments within the council. Now, while each council varies on their major departments, generally the executive staff look like this. The manager of finance, they're concerned about the rates, funding and how council is going to pay for everything. Manager of infrastructure and environment, they look after roads, rubbish collections, playgrounds, footpaths, streetlights, basically all the infrastructure that council owns. Manager of community services, they look after the libraries, community centres, school holiday programs, council run events and even Christmas parades. The manager of planning and compliance, they look after the long-term planning of the town as well as looking after new developments and making sure everyone is following the rules when they want to put in a new shed or a new swimming pool. And the manager of corporate, they look after the business unit of council and make sure that staff are happy and healthy when they're working for the council. They also advise the council on whether staff can feasibly deliver on what council is asking. So I'm thinking like we build a rocket launcher right here in the middle of the main street and we can fly rockets to the moon and we can get people coming back from Mars and we'll send all of our residents on holidays to the moon if they want. What do you reckon? Yeah, no. You'll also find sitting nearby the governance officer. Now, the governance officer is another employee of the administration and they're there for the very important role of recording the official minutes of the meeting. They're also there to provide support and advice to the mayor to make sure that all the elected members are following the rules during the meeting. In some councils, you might find a spot reserved for the media. This is where journalists from a local newspaper, radio or television come to watch the meeting of council unfold. They then report on the decisions that council have made to the local community. Finally, the most important part of the council chamber is here at the back of the room. This is where members of the community can come and watch the council meeting unfold. It's called the public gallery, and unless council are considering an item that's confidential, all meetings of council are held publicly for any member of the community to come and watch. And did you know that a lot of councils now record and live stream their meetings? So why not tune in to your next council meeting and watch it unfold live? Meetings are held regularly, usually once a month. However, some councils, such as the cities of Adelaide, Burnside and Charles Sturt, meet twice a month. While all South Australian councils follow the same set of rules, it's important to remember there are 68 different individual councils in the state, so each one might work slightly different from one another. In the federal and state systems of government, members of parliament or MPs put forward and pass bills in order to make decisions. These bills, once agreed upon by a majority of members, become laws. This is very similar to how decisions are made in local government. This is how decisions are made at a council level. A councillor, the mayor or the administration can put forward recommendations called motions forward on the agenda for a council meeting. These motions could contain anything, as long as it's a decision that the council has authority to make. For example, the motion could be a proposal to build a new skate park at a local playground, changing the rules about when and where dogs are allowed off-leash, allocating funding to resurface netball courts at a local netball club, deciding on whether a landowner can knock down a historically significant wall, what events the council should put on for the community to enjoy, and so on. Motions set out to be put in the agenda are usually discussed with the local community by the elected member or administration suggesting the motion. This ensures that if the motion is successful, it will be there to provide benefits specifically to the local community. Before the motion can even be discussed, it needs to be firstly moved by a councillor and then seconded by another. The motion is then open for debate. One by one, the mayor will pick any of the councillors who want to speak to the motion. This allows councillors to express their views on behalf of the community and whether they agree and are in favour of the motion or disagree and are against the motion. Each councillor only gets a maximum of 5 minutes to speak on each item, so it's important to summarise your arguments succinctly. Once the debate has concluded, each councillor then decides on how they're going to vote on the motion, either in favour or against. The mayor will then ask for a show of hands of members who are firstly for and then against the motion. If more than half of the councillors vote for, then the motion is carried and is successful. And if it doesn't, then the motion is lost and is not successful. Now, a common misconception is that the mayor of the council is the one making the decisions, when in fact it is all of the councillors who vote and decide on a collective outcome. This means that the mayor doesn't actually vote on motions presented to the council. The only exception to this is when there is a tie, the mayor gets a casting vote, which acts as a tiebreaker. Once the motion is passed, it is then referred to as a resolution of the council. The resolution is immediately put into effect with the administration getting to work on putting it into action if required. It's good to remember that how decisions are made in local government is really complex. But no matter how complex the processes are, the one constant is that decisions are being made on behalf of you to improve your community. And there are so many ways built into the system of local government that you can get involved and directly contribute to making changes in your community. But what are they? Now that we've learned all about how local government works and decisions are made, how can you, yes you, get involved and actually make a real change in your community? Well, all will be revealed as we explore in our video on how you can get involved in local government.